Hi, this is a special edition of Crank Up the Volume, PWHL Awards and Draft Edition. So I am in Detroit right now, completing the first of 2 days of activities that are PWHL centered in Detroit. And let me tell you right now, just walking around Detroit, they did it. There's signage everywhere. There's just a lot of buzz and excitement here in general, not just for the team getting or the city getting a team. Of course, they're very happy about that, but just the added exposure and activity that's been happening. So it's really been a great time. I am exhausted already, but I definitely wanted to drop this tonight because there was some really interesting information that came out of today's series of events. So if you were to think about it, today was kind of the wrapping up of the current season. So we had the press conference with two of the PWHL executive vice presidents, and then that was followed by a Q&A session, if you want to call it that, with 10 of the top prospects determined by PWHL. And then that was followed by the awards, which was at another location, which went really well. But there was kind of some surprises, a surprise to me at least. And we'll get into that towards the end of this recording. There's some surprises, but also I noted a couple of interesting things. So I can't wait to share that with you guys already. But let's first talk about the press conference. Now, it went for about 30 plus minutes, and I am going to post the full version of that press conference in a separate video, in a separate feed. So you will be able to see that probably tomorrow or Thursday at the latest. But I did pull out a couple of snippets based on some of the questions and some of the conversations that I've been seeing and hearing and reading about over the past few weeks in regards to this league. So the first question I asked, or I want to share with you, is one around obstacles and challenges that I felt like the league may have been dealing with over the past season, but obviously over the past 3 seasons as well. So Amy Shear answered that this way.
We come to work every day understanding that working in women's sports is really hard. And there are challenges that are different than maybe working in a men's league. We embrace the challenges. We take them on regardless of what it is. And so every day the PWHL brings something new and different. And we're very lucky that we're in this position where we've got, wonderful ownership in Kimber Walter. We've got an amazing advisory board who challenges every day to be different, to run this league different. I wouldn't say specific obstacles. I'd say just in general, there are challenges that we take on every single day and we embrace them.
And again, there will be a posting of the full answer and the full press conference in a separate video. Now, the next thing I want to share with you from this particular press conference is what came from Jana Hefford, who's the EVP of hockey operations. And yes, you can imagine there were several questions about the draft and how it came to be. And there was even a question, it's not going to be in this recording, but there was even a question about how the draft process this time around may have impacted Hillary Knight in a way that maybe not a lot of people see as positive. But watch the full video when it comes out, and I will make sure to push that out to you. But she did go back into a question around the draft, talking about how the picks were set up. So I think you guys will want to hear this.
Carissa Duncan from CBC Sports. Good to see you. Just following up on what Ian was asking about the draft order. Last year, we saw the expansion teams pick at the end of the order, and then this year they're in the middle of the order. You talked about wanting to have more information. Can you outline specifically what's different this year that convinced you that the expansion teams needed to pick a little bit higher?
Yeah, I think as I said, we went through the distribution process and really evaluating where rosters were at through that process and trying to build out 12 competitive teams, and can say even, but we're never really going to know. We look at what happened last year, and I think it's pretty safe to say almost everyone in this room thought that Vancouver and Seattle were going to be playing for the Walter Cup. And so it's these things are tough to predict. This is a really hard thing we're doing, adding teams to an 8-team league and to try to maintain competitive balance. So trying to use all the information we have. We have some really brilliant people that work on our team and that are maybe a little behind the scenes at times, but that, a lot of people involved in trying to figure out how we do this in the best possible way in the best interests of the league.
So yeah, so you'll have to let me know what you think of that response. But like I said, the full video will be posted so you can hear all of the questions that were centered around the draft and how the draft was set up itself so that you can have the full context of it. But I didn't want to make this super long. Now, after we left the press conference, we went straight across the street, just across the hall, honestly, with meeting with some of the top prospects. Now, I did get to talk to 5 of the 10, and there was a lot of reporters there. And I will say one of the things that I noticed, definitely Detroit heavy media. Now, I'm not surprised that there was Detroit heavy media, but what I was surprised is that not much else. There was someone from like the Czech Republic that was there, some that were kind of in the tri-state area, but that's about it. And I will say, I think part of that probably had to do with how late press credentials, media credentials were confirmed by the league. For myself, I was already coming. I had already purchased my draft ticket, so I knew I was coming one way or the other. So when I got the credential notification late last week, it was good for me because I knew I was already coming. But if other entities, outlets were kind of waiting on that, and we know that travel is expensive, yeah. But there was someone from San Jose as well, so that was pretty cool. But yes, very much a Detroit-centric media covering, which was actually interesting. There was one reporter, I'm going to call him that, that kept asking me questions about the players and kind of what was going on next. So I felt very happy that I made sure to read all my notes ahead of time, so I kind of sounded really knowledgeable. But I was a little surprised by some of the questions about, what is the process and what's going on. So with that said, there was a lot of questions. There was a lot of media trying to kind of haggle and get around to certain players. Some of the players that were there were Layla Edwards and Abby Murphy, and KK was there. So the big news outlets that were there were literally just kind of taking up a lot of space. So us smaller people had to kind of fight and kind of elbow ourselves in. But I was able to get a few questions in, and I tried to keep them as lighthearted as possible because, they're prospects and they're just feeling all kinds of anxious. But I feel like other information about them will come out in larger media. So I actually saw Ian Kennedy there, so he and I got to chat a little bit, and I know that he was asking more of kind of like the hard-hitting questions. So I just left that to them. But I want to tell you first, one, I got to do something really cool this morning. I was getting ready to, get ready to go to the press conference, and I got a text message from Mama Edwards. That's right. So I got to hang out with her for about a half an hour. We had a great conversation talking about what happened with the Winter Olympics, and what's been going on with Layla and graduation and what's next. It was a really great conversation. So Mama Edwards is dynamite, you guys. So the first 2 people I got to talk to at the top prospects interviews were Layla Edwards and Kirsten. And I want to share with you Kirsten Sims. I'm tired, you guys. I'm sorry. But I want to share with you, I just asked him a couple of kind of lighthearted questions. You have to let me know what you think about it.
This for both of you. So I have a lighthearted question. I think, does this feel like a second graduation for the two of you? Like you all just graduated from Wisconsin, and now you guys have the second most number of teammates that's entering the draft.
Who's the first most?
Connecticut?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Okay.
It was one of those, and I was like, yeah.
No, I think that's a good way to put it. Like the second graduation. It's just another step into another direction that I'm just really excited to do, but I think it's underrated how special it is to feel alongside people that I've grown up with and I've grown to know and has become a better person because of it.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite part about the last couple of months is that I've gotten to do it alongside my teammates and girls I've known for years. And now I get to continue to see them live out their dreams and their goals and what they want to accomplish. And I get to kind of be by their side through it all. And I think that's the most special part about it.
Nice. And anything you want to say to Seattle PWHL fans, because they are loving both of you. Clearly, it's like, so no matter where the draft lands, you guys, I think you're going to still have a fandom there. What message do you have for fans out there who would love to see you play, but whether it's for us or another team?
Right. I think regardless, I love your guys' passion. It is so inspiring, and it's exactly what this game needs. So please never stop. You're a big part in the growth of this sport. Yeah, regardless too of what happens, I mean, it's the same thing you saw. You showed out all year this year for the first season of Seattle, and it was unbelievable. And just kind of continuing on doing that, filling the stands, filling the crowds, and just being the energy for women's hockey.
I also got to speak with Abby Murphy, and I asked her about just how was she feeling about what tomorrow was going to bring for her and what her expectations were. But also I asked her about her penalty minutes in the NCAA. And shout out to Brian over at Gloves Off Seattle. He sent over a bunch of questions for me to look through and see if they would be good enough to ask. So thank you, Brian. There's definitely a handful of the ones that you sent over that I ended up asking some of the prospects. So let's see what Abby had to say.
So what message might you have for Seattle fans should you land there tomorrow?
For anywhere, I'm excited to get to work and be involved in a community where I can help grow the game and being a part of a community and kind of building your own brand is pretty special, and wherever I end up, it's going to be pretty exciting and just want to win, bring a Walter Cup back to wherever city I end up, which is pretty exciting just to even think about.
And last is about you spent 118 penalty minutes last season.
Someone's got to bring it up, right?
I know, right? I'm for it. So if a coach needs to, do you feel like you can dial it back?
Absolutely.
If necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that was kind of I think I got better. I don't know. But yeah, absolutely. I think it's kind of about finding a balance. Obviously they're allowing hitting in the league and I don't want to always get stuck in the corners, getting smashed or anything. So, I think it's important to me to kind of find ways around just not the body contact, being a fast player that also can be creative in different ways. And I think that's what's so exciting about this league is the talent from top to bottom is insane, and it's growing every single year. And watching the games every single day on the couch with my teammates, Gophers or USA, it's a pretty exciting feeling, just to be in this spot here waiting to get drafted tomorrow.
So finally, we wrapped up the day with the PWHL Awards. It was held in this beautiful building in downtown Detroit. Again, didn't recognize it. It was great. It was beautiful. It was just a lot of fun, you guys. Seriously, come visit Detroit. But there was a few interesting things that happened at the awards. Interesting to me, at least. It was great to see who got honored. Some people that we were expecting, some not so much. I will say I was happy to see that Seattle got some love at the awards. They showed a video clip of everything that happened over the course of the season. Even though it was kind of bittersweet because kind of the players that were featured are the players that are now coming to Detroit. So I'm just like, yeah. And I'm hoping that PWHL will have those videos on their social media channels because they were really, really good. And trying to record them on my little phone was not going to do them any justice. So I do hope that it comes out. But again, it was a little, yeah. Especially when the closing image that they had on the video was of Kayla Barnes. So I'm just like, just stab me. Just stab me in the heart. What are you doing? So that happened, and then the awards themselves, it was nearly a Boston Fleet sweep. They got all the categories, or their players get all the categories of Coach of the Year, all Boston Fleet. They only didn't get one of the categories, only because they were not nominated in it. But I have a feeling that if they had a player during one of those, they probably would have gotten that too. Yeah. And actually, Erin Frankel won twice. She got the Billie Jean King Award on top of the other one that she won. So that was pretty cool to see. But again, it was just kind of like, it was definitely Boston's night at the awards. But there were two things that happened that I was not anticipating, and I didn't know what to think about one of them. And the one I didn't know what to think about it was towards the end, after we were getting ready to wrap up, they showed some videos saying, "Hey, we want to, wrap this up by introducing and officially welcoming in our 4 new teams." Because, like I said, this day was about wrapping up the season. So that was a segue into tomorrow, where we're going to talk about the draft. So they did all 4, and it was like a video montage of each. But what was interesting to me, maybe it's just me, but as they did each one, there was like this montage of all the activity, whether it was from a takeover tour or whatever, that happened in those cities. But what were the 2 cities that didn't have that kind of Yeah, Vegas and San Jose. The Vegas one stood out to me more than anything, but it was because it was the first one out of the 2 that they showed. And when they did this montage, it was pretty much a smorgasbord of PWHL games played everywhere else, but nothing in Vegas. Which, of course, feeds into what some people think, like, you guys didn't even have a takeover tour there. How did money? But it was just interesting to see that there was no footage, no film whatsoever showing PWHL in Vegas, and the same thing with San Jose. And then finally, it wasn't listed on the website or anything like that, but they did, towards the top of the show, announce the all rookie team, and who from the Torrent was represented on there? Hannah Murphy. So I was able to grab a couple of seconds with her, literally like 30, after it was all said and done, because it was very, very busy and a lot of stuff was going on. But I did manage to stop and ask her what she thought about being added to the all-rookie team this year.
I think it's a really huge honor to be on the all-rookie team with so many other amazing athletes. All those women that had amazing seasons themselves. So it was really cool.
But did you feel like you would be here, a year ago today, almost being picked from the draft, and now you're here again, but in this capacity? How's that feeling?
Yeah, it's really cool and super special to kind of reflect on the past year. I don't think I would have expected this time last year that I'd be here today. So it really is a huge honor.
Okay, you guys, so that's it for now. This is a busy, long day. I learned a lot. It was great seeing a lot of the PWHL front office folks. It was very humbling to know that some of them knew who I am. I'm like, yeah, thank you. But great hospitality so far at the different venues that we were at today. Little Caesars Arena, Elevate, and One Campus. Martius, thank you so much for your hospitality for all of us. The media meals were great. It was just a great time. I'm glad that I'm here. So tomorrow we talk about the draft. So stay tuned and let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you soon.